This is Father Christopher Etheridge, missionary in Italy, and today is Monday, January 22nd. Our gospel today comes from Mark 3:22-30. The scribes who had come from Jerusalem said to Jesus, "He is possessed by Beelzebul, and by the prince of demons he drives out demons." Summoning them, he began to speak to them in parables. "How can Satan drive out Satan? If a kingdom is divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house is divided against itself, that house will not be able to stand. And if Satan has risen up against himself and is divided, he cannot stand. That is the end of him. But no one can enter a strong man's house to plunder his property unless he first ties up the strong man. Then he can plunder his house. Amen, I say to you, all sins and all blasphemies that people utter will be forgiven them. But whoever blasphemes against the Holy Spirit will never have forgiveness, but is guilty of an everlasting sin. For they had said, he has an unclean spirit. The Gospel of the Lord. If you go back and read today's first reading from 2 Samuel 5, 1-7 and 10, you will find that David is strengthened by the Lord's presence. David grew steadily more powerful, for the Lord of hosts was with him. And if you also read today's psalm, you will find that it sings of the same empowering presence. I have found David my servant. With my holy oil I have anointed him, that my hand may be always with him, and that my arm may make him strong. But when we come back to the gospel, what do we find? The presence of a powerful man. He is a man victorious over demons. It is an obvious sign that the hand of God is at work in him. The man is like a new David, but he is someone greater than David. He is Emmanuel, God with us. But the scribes cannot see that Jesus is greater than David and that he is God. In fact, they see he is worse than David and less than God. David at least acted under the power of God. This new David, Jesus Christ, drives out demons, they say, by the prince of demons. So what's the scribes' problem? Why can't they recognize the powerful hand of God at work in Jesus Christ? They lack faith, but that's not the worst of their spiritual diagnosis. Their greatest problem is their spiritual pride, whereby they see and judge things backwardly. When we lack faith, we lack the divine light to see the truth. When we are proud in our way of thinking, which is also called spiritual pride, we lack even the ability to see the truth of things at all. We are blind. The danger of this blindness through pride is that it doesn't just deny the truth, it perverts it. As we see in the scribes attributing Jesus' divine power to Beelzebul, that is, an unclean spirit. For the Venerable Bede teaches us, for Beel means Baal himself, and Zebub a fly. The meaning of Beelzebul, therefore, is the man of flies. You and I know that flies are not attracted to the sweet things, like bees and butterflies. They don't hover over roses and tulips, but over rotten and filthy things. To call Jesus Beelzebul is to call him a filthy man, an unclean man, an impure man. It's to see Jesus in a completely backward way, for he is all good and all pure. He is God himself. Let us ask the Lord and Our Lady for the grace today to be humble disciples of Jesus Christ. Our motivation is not so much to avoid spiritual pride and the blindness it causes, but to acquire that purity of vision whereby we can see the Lord in truth and in faith and delight in his love even more. May God bless you.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed hearing the gospel and homily, I invite you to share it with someone you know who may also find it rewarding, and also to subscribe to the Catholic Voice channel. Please see in the description below if you would like to receive a text message for each daily gospel and homily. Please also keep our missionary priests throughout the world in your prayers. Thank you, and God bless.